Hi, it's me, your caribou weather dude, Joey Only here. Yeah, a little bit of a disturbance coming through the middle of British Columbia this week. We have been kind of sitting around seasonal more or less for temperatures. There's not been a lot of weather stories, and honestly, I've been kind of depressed. So sorry I've not been putting out very much on the channel. There's just not much to say about the weather in general in British Columbia. But we do have some stories. We got some disturbances midweek here, and we'll look at that right now, and maybe next week we'll have even more of such disturbances. Let's go.
This is bad news.
My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Wow.
I'll watch the video later.
Feel the heat.
I need more blanks, I need water.
Ain't dry mopping this.
Well, here so far has been the biggest disappointment of the weekend. We have this very intense solar storm that's been going on, and it's really its timing is fired off on the other side of the planet. So it's like by the time the Earth turns around and it's our turn to get some northern lights, well, it's calmed down for a little while and it's waiting its next pulse. So again, we do see that already we're back up to 6 on the KP this morning after a long night of waiting for something to happen that didn't. We do have that possibility tonight, though, of intense Aurora, elevated Aurora tomorrow night. So we're not done with this yet. So here's hoping that sometime around 9 o'clock tonight, this just goes bing right to the 10. That'd be sweet. So as you can see right now, very minimal activity. There is definitely some going on in Siberia, right? So if you were in Siberia, you're seeing a little bit of this right now dancing around. People have been seeing them in Canada, but the intensity, I mean, this has been a very intense, this is a severe solar storm, and we have not got the show. It's kind of sad. So just to remind you too, if you're going out and playing in the mountains, it's still not entirely safe, although yes, the danger is quite a bit down. We still have had quite a few incidents over these last two happened this weekend. Rogers Peak area, skier accidental on the way from the call while boot packing. Yeah, see, little slide there, nothing crazy. You want to do your best to try to minimize going on this surface, right? This is your problem. Here you got this nice lawn. You could be walking up on the edge. You could be doing the same thing on this side, walking up the edge, instead of taking that seemingly easy route, which is shorter and could lead you to danger. Kane's colonoscopy conquest. We have to look at this one just because it's called Kane's colonoscopy fucking conquest. Riding quality was good, hard, blah, blah, blah. Found a bit everywhere at Kane. So really, this is not as advertised. There's a little bit of a slide here, I guess, reported. Nothing happened. No one involved. And there you go. It's just when I see a fucking incident report called Kane's colonoscopy conquest or whatever the hell it just said, I want to see some like carnage. I'll have a look at the mountain weather forecast on Avalanche Canada this morning. Weak system on shore, bringing increasing cloud, light precipitation, unsettled condition with light showers or flurries continue Tuesday. We got this weak upper trough coming Wednesday. Funnel system associated with low center offshore moves across BC, generating some windy conditions and moderate precipitation. Nothing crazy expected. Thursday, the low center offshore West Vancouver Island, bringing more precipitation to the southern half of BC. And here you get kind of the idea. We're not looking at anything crazy, but this storm, it's pulling itself together, and if it does, it could wallop hard, but I think who's going to get the wallop is going to be, it looks like, more down to California, and this secondary low is going to form in behind. We'll have a look at that in a second, and that one I think is going to be pretty powerful. So that's what we're looking at. Here we are on earth.nullschool.net. We'll go wind, surface. We could even go up a little higher just to see. Maybe that'll help us. Well, there's our jet stream right now, really aiming low across the continent. So we've got a lot of cooler weather. Definitely a lot of cooler weather. We go to the surface and have a look. And this should give us an idea of what's happening out there. So you can see there's a low on the Aleutian Islands. That's normal. The lows go counterclockwise. So you can always tell this is a high pressure. You can tell it's going clockwise, right? And if we have a look around North America, you can see got a little bit of low pressure in the center part of the states. Like if you're in sort of that Kansas, Colorado, Midwest areas. We see here's the temperatures. Oh, I forgot to do my thing. This is planet Earth. Okay. Everyone who's ever said this is planet Earth lived on planet Earth. Okay. As you see, that cold air is really dipping down. That just shows you how our jet stream is working its way south right now. So we'll have a look at this jet stream. Here we go. We can see this is the 500 millibar animation that shows you where the jet stream is. That's, you know, the 20,000 feet or whatever in the sky, 18, 20,000 feet, something like that. Here's that sort of storm out there we just looked at. Jet stream going quite low, and we'll just play this through, and you'll watch how she's going to move. So here comes some weather into BC. Just skirting the bottom of us, though, right? We're not getting all of it. And here's that secondary storm coming into California I was talking about. That looks like it might have some actual anger associated with it. Might be bringing some larger precipitation numbers and heavier wind, heavier rain, that kind of thing. Pivotal weather gives us these great images, so we'll have a look at that right now. So there you go in the center of the United States, thunderstorm patterns erupting up as you go from Texas and northward up the Mississippi, more or less. And then on the north side of that, you're going to have some snowstorms. Some of that just kind of came through Alberta and is moving out, right? So they've had a few days of snow there. And that whole line kind of goes, oh, you know, from northern tip of Texas all the way up into northern tip of Quebec, you know, more or less, right? This is GFS modeling. And here's that large storm we were just talking about. That's on the East Coast. Looks worse than it is, 997. It's not that low. Okay. We'll just keep playing this slide through. So here we go. Here's coming into Wednesday. There's our storm coming to BC. At that time, northern Newfoundland, big time precipitation. Northern Ontario, northern Quebec getting lots of precipitation. Some of that's going to spill into Manitoba most likely. Up the east coast of the United States, we see that thunderstorm pattern's kind of moved across and is on its way out. And we got that new line of storms that's definitely giving southern British Columbia a bit of a taste. But really, you look at Oregon, Washington State, they seem to be getting the lion's share of that weather, right? And we do have, if you look at this looks into Thursday, and we do have into the Cariboo, into the Rocky Mountains, that chance of snow as well, right? So this is the storm we're kind of watching. For a little while, it deepens and then sort of, you know, stalls out and disappears and then reforms, as we were just showing you with this guy from California. And this guy from California, he's the one that, look at this, it's got kind of a tail, you know, nice. It's going to really give a late season wallop. I'm sure they don't mind at all. And you look at cool temperatures really persisting over Canada at this time. And you know, I'll tell you, this is the time of year that for me, it drives me crazy because here in Wells, I went down to Quesnel yesterday to pick up the kids. It was warm. There was no snow. It was awesome. And I look out my window here and still snowy and it's very cold. It's miserable. It was below zero again last night. Very, very chilly. Definitely, I find this time of year, I love living out in the mountains. I don't mind the isolation that much most of the time. I'm an only child. I grew up in the country. But I find this time of year when I'm like, you know, growing up this time of year in central Ontario, you know, snow is gone. It's getting warm. Life is good. And I miss how long it takes for winter to just get out of my life here in Wells, you know, and so last fire season ended with 4 of our guys getting killed, and I got home. I was like, ooh, you know, I was like right at the end of the season. Ooh, got home, and then I got fucking banned from Barkerville, and I think since then my mental health just started going slowly down. You know, my feeling of like my place in this community. I've been very hostile. I've been very angry, and I'm feeling it, and I'm admitting it. Keep me accountable. Thanks. That's my sober Joey, trying to stay sober moment of the day. Okay, let's get back to talking weather. So here's more or less our stories for the next week that we're looking at. Okay, by the time we look to the 31st, that's getting into next week by then. But looks like we get some warmer air possibly coming to British Columbia by then. So that's what we're looking forward to, is seeing if it finally warms up for us. You know, looking for Ontario. Still possibly a week from now, looking at another snow story. So that'll be post April Fool's Day. Now we're looking further out in the models. So we really can't take too seriously. This is what it might look like. Something like this, right? So you see much Canada still trapped in colder air, but we see warmer air working its way all the way up on both sides, right? So here's some hoping that I mean, at the same time, it's like we don't want spring to come too quick in BC. It's very dry right now. We haven't had the precipitation. We want the snow to stay in the ground in the mountains as long as it can. You know, really, this nice, cool stretch is good for the province, but it's not good for me. I want it to be fucking summer right now. Okay. So how much snow are we talking about this week in the mountains and whatnot? Probably not much for those of you who don't live in the mountains. Nothing this next 12 hours, 24 hours, maybe a little on the coast range. Could see in the next 3 days a bit of a change there. Could see some snow in the coast range, as well as into into Washington State there. So you might see some 25 centimeters this week there. But I mean, other than that, when you're looking at British Columbia interior, 3.8 centimeters. So some of these higher areas could see it. Maybe even at nighttime you might get some. So you look at that and you compare it to rain accumulation. How much rain will there be? We'll skip ahead to the 5 days. So I'm going to look at the entire week as it is, right? So some of these same areas that are forecast to get snow will also be getting rain. This is the rain chart right here. You look at new snow, same places. So how much falls as rain? How much falls as snow? I'll be skeptical. So you see this number here. So 12 centimeters here in Wells, say. That's entirely possible. Does that mean there'll be 12 centimeters on the ground at the end of it? No, I highly think. So we'll have a look at the week as we go and just have a little look at our work week here. As you can see, thunderstorms building up in the States, as I said. Snow along that north band, so we've really seen that already. There's that storm on the East Coast. We keep seeing the same things, just kind of matching up. This is ECMWF model. That's different GFS we were just looking at. But the GFS and the ECMWF, they generally are pretty close to agreeing when it comes to like this end product. Although while the GFS is spitting out numbers all day, you can sometimes, get a reading out of it and be like, wow, 60 centimeters of snow coming to our, and then so you start telling, GFS says 65 centimeters, gives false snow is kind of the joke in our crew. GFS gives false snow. And then 6 hours later, you look back and it says 5 centimeters. So you got to be really careful when you're looking at the GFS numbers sometimes. We see thunderstorms in the southern United States. That's a sort of Texaco, New Mexico, up in then you go snow more as you go further north up the Rocky Mountains. BC getting a little bit of that snow Tuesday. Nothing crazy. There's that low pulling in. 983 millibars. Looks like our one in central Ontario. Our northern Ontario is bringing rain through Quebec and Ontario, possibly freezing rain into Gaspé, Z, Anticosti, all that sort of north shore of Quebec, St. Lawrence. Here's our large storm pulling in. We see there's a lot of moisture out there. Let's just stop for 1 second. So what we're looking at here is humidity, right? And what I'm trying to get an idea of is how much moisture is out there to work with. And as you can see, all across the Pacific Ocean, there's a lot of it. 66% in places, 71% humidity. She's humid out there. 60%, 48 in some places. Go a little higher in others, 90%. Come into our storm, up into the 80s. So we see this sort of long line where that's the tail of our storm. And you look at the moisture content in there. There's a lot to work with. Obviously, you compare that to New Mexico, none. And surprisingly dry in the British Columbia interior right now. Prince George sitting at 44% humidity. Not bad for this time of year. Certainly at nighttime, things are very humid here in Wells because we get these daytime highs of 6, 7, 8 degrees. And then it starts to drop very quickly in the evening, the temperature, but the humidity, the moisture is still in the air from all that water moving because, snow is melting and then it's moving. And when it's moving, that means moisture gets put in the air. That's, how water works, right? You ever seen a waterfall? It's moving, and you see the humidity flying all in the air everywhere around it. It's that simple. Looking at 10 a.m. on Monday, I'm just sort of getting that idea of how that cold air is still really owning a lot of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Western Ontario specifically. And at least during the daytime here in British Columbia, we are getting a little warmer if we just kind of bump up. And of course, the storm that we're seeing is going to help this too. So maybe some daytime highs. And you see that storm, what's it doing? It's bringing that warm air around through it. And this high, which is moving this way, so it's got to take a bit of a circuitous route. So it's not maybe as warm as it would like to be if this high wasn't, that generally lives off the coast here, was allowing for more of this here to come up. So I mean, some of this will get pulled up. So we're getting some warmer weather. That's what happens often with. And you look at the precipitation, and you get kind of a different story on Wednesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We are kind of looking at throughout the Coast Range Mountain, lots of rain on more of the coastal areas. And then just, these are sort of light snow, 0.5 centimeters over 3 hours. Like this isn't crazy snow, right? But it's enough to say don't take off your snow tires yet, y'all, because you just take off your snow tires thinking, wow, winter's over, and then you just need a skiff of snow sometimes to make a road treacherous, right? So that is the thing. See, Wednesday overnight, that is really when that precipitation lines up. So that's kind of nice. At least we're all kind of sitting at home. If that freezing rain is going on or through the Highway 3 corridor in the middle of the night, I hope there's not too many people actually on the road driving, right? So Thursday at 6 a.m., that's probably when in the Caribou that low is going to sort of center in, and we might see on the flanks of the low up towards Prince George, west of Quesnel, east of Quesnel, into the Rocky Mountains. We're going to see sort of the heavier snow there, and as we get warmer in the daytime, that precipitation, we might even see thunderstorms on Thursday. We have a couple blobs on here, nothing crazy. A couple blobs though. So we see that convection is possible. Now you get that surface heating. The air will be cooler aloft, but you're going to have surface heating, right? The sun's going to warm the ground up. You got warmer air coming up from the south. So you could see some flashes of lightning on Thursday. I mean, that is very common at this time of year, as soon as you have sort of the right combination together for that. And then more or less Thursday, we're going to see that all start to move out. And by Friday, come daytime, work time, we should be sort of out of that. And, you're not looking at huge rebounds in temperatures yet. Still pretty chilly. At 7 a.m. on Friday, -7s. Well, hey, if you're up north, you're still looking at -20s. So all you guys who are up at that camp there was a camp right around here that I stayed at last fall during the end of fire season. It was oil and gas camp. And you know me, I'm not a huge fan of oil and gas industry, but I sure like staying in their camps when I'm working wildfires. I will not ever want to lose that privilege. Man, they feed us fucking good there. It's great. But yeah, it is kind of like being in a gulag, some kind of a prison where you got to check in and show your ID, and there's all kinds of rules, and it's different. So if you are up in those places, then you're probably going to be seeing still pretty cold air, and hey, even down into the Alberta side. I'm really hoping this doesn't happen, that we don't get -17 in Wells on Saturday night. I'm skeptical on that. We'll see. And that's not Saturday night. That's Friday night, Saturday morning. So I'm skeptical as to how cold those temperatures get, but we do know there are blobs of cold air out there that would like to punish us. But we see we're starting to look at Sunday and Monday. We're looking at some rebounding temperatures, especially in the Alberta side, northern BC. And then by the time you're into Monday, that should fully rebound. We should be into some warmer, steadier weather, and hopefully nighttime temperatures start moderating so that we're not getting those cold nights anymore. So this is positive to me that we might have some above zero. I live fairly hard here by the wood stove. That's the only kind of heat I have, right? So when I spend 6 months sitting here watching the snow fall outside, it tends to make me sometimes say, damn, I'm ready for spring. Okay, that's the show this week. Not a whole lot to talk about, but we talked. At least I made a video. I did it. I made a video finally. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. I mean, help me grow this channel. That's another reason I get depressed is I make a video and it gets 25 views and I think, why did I fucking even bother? But I know why, because those 25 people still matter. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Now.